that it will blow apart the whole rotten structure that I've been talking about. This is not government of the people, by the people, for the people. Starmer represents government of the blob, by the blob, for the blob. And when it fails, it will be the blob that failed, not Britain. I think we should be talking about cancelling the Prime Minister, shouldn't we, really? This is the sort of thing, and I'm making a bit of a joke of it, but it's actually a very close line to being serious. This is the kind of thing that got people put in jail back in July.
Keir Starmer feels less like a genuine political leader and more like a carefully rehearsed presentation given human form. Watching him try to steer the UK is like watching someone tackle a complex job without grasping the fundamentals, yet doing so with absolute self-confidence. Everything about him comes across as flat and uninspiring. He operates on a purely technical level, but there is no warmth, no energy, and no clear sense of purpose. He is present, yet every appearance leaves people feeling underwhelmed every single time.
I've never met Keir Starmer, I'm delighted to say, but we have, as they say, previous. At the time of my cancellation back in 2020, Starmer was the only person in public life who wanted poor little Darren Grimes and me to be charged under the Section 6 of the Public Order Act, which I think carries mandatory imprisonment and up to 6 years. But is the measure of the man, the measure of his nastiness, the measure of his desire for vengeance, the measure of his...
Then there is David Starkey, a historian known for sharp thinking and relentless focus. Starkey did not simply criticise Keir Starmer, he dismantled him piece by piece. He laid bare how Starmer's reputation for competence rests on remarkably thin foundations. With calm assurance, Starkey peeled away the polished image and exposed what lay beneath shallow thinking, recycled talking points, and a leadership style that offers nothing genuinely new. It was not dramatic or loud. It was controlled, precise, and quietly devastating.
Sentences of up to 6 years. Right. Now, even the Times, that was not very sympathetic, wrote a third leader saying, this is mad. One public figure supported that charge. Sir Keir Starmer,
of course,
ex-DPP. And this is where they are a real, genuine and...
Starmer's biggest flaw is his conviction that he is some kind of saviour of moderation, sent to steady Britain's political storms. In truth, he stands for very little. His leadership is devoid of direction, courage, and imagination. Obsessed with appearing sensible, he forgets to champion anything truly meaningful. There is no passion, no boldness, and no coherent vision for the country's future. His relentless need to seem reasonable produces policies that feel hollow, uninspiring, and easily forgotten.
Keir Starmer. This constant fact that he harks on about being chief prosecutor. He's not, he's called Director of Public Prosecutions. But chief prosecutor, what does it make him sound like? It makes him sound like a figure out of Stalin's Russia. In Starmer's eyes, he is clearly of impeccable character. He is all...
Starkey didn't need to raise his voice or stage a spectacle. He simply highlighted what many already suspect. Starmer isn't truly leading anyone. He is managing perceptions, smoothing over rough edges, and avoiding risk at every turn. Every decision is filtered through committees, cautious phrasing, and endless hesitation. Politics under Starmer feels lifeless, like reading a long, dull workplace email that says nothing yet still expects your full attention.
There is a genuine emergency. There is a constitutional emergency. There is a political emergency. These things are manifestly malfunctioning. The proposals, the new Labour, the renewed Labour, actually it's just old New Labour proposals of Gordon Brown will make a bad situation even worse. They will destroy what little faith there is in politics and politicians. Yes, but with a very heavy heart. Yes to a referendum.
Starmer seems convinced that avoiding strong positions makes him appear smarter and more electable. But you cannot inspire people by being dull and invisible. He seems to believe that if he remains motionless long enough, the public will accept him as a serious authority. Instead, people are left confused, unsure whether he is thinking, hesitating, or simply afraid to act. Nothing in his approach generates confidence or excitement.
Starmer's quite extraordinary. He's like kind of speak your weight machine. What are they? We have working people. We have dear me. I've heard them so often. My father is a toolmaker. All these phrases constantly recurring, almost as though it's a kind of computer. It's almost like I've used an old-fashioned phrase, a speak your weight machine. He's a kind of AI, but you know, he's not. AI would do it very, very much better. Very much better, because Starmer is something different.
His constant flip-flopping only makes matters worse. One day he pledges major reform, the next those promises quietly vanish beneath vague, corporate-sounding language. He talks as if apologising in advance for decisions he has yet to make. The only thing he remains consistent about is inconsistency itself. Starkey spotted this immediately and made it clear he wasn't fooled. Every time Starmer speaks, the energy drops. He doesn't engage with people, he analyses them. It feels as though he is calculating responses rather than listening. Place him in an ordinary social setting, and the atmosphere would instantly grow awkward.
The problem is, and this is, we're going back to Starmer and whatever, the left in particular just believe in a culture of words. The absurd dispute about Elon Musk and doing that, or rather that, which shows he's a fascist. Here is a man who has just spent £44 billion making sure that X has freedom of speech. I don't think freedom of speech was very high on Adolf Hitler's list. But it's this, the entire left is about words and gestures.
Remarkably, Starmer has even managed to make Jeremy Corbyn seem energetic by comparison. At least Corbyn appeared to believe in something, even if people disagreed with him. Starmer, by contrast, looks like someone permanently trapped in a political training program where every policy is temporary and every answer meticulously managed. Yet he still expects public support. Support for what, exactly? His message often amounts to little more than "I'm not the alternative." He doesn't feel like a leader, he feels like a placeholder, holding a position until someone else arrives.
Starmer, as the Baldwin biography makes clear, has fundamental and indeed fundamentalist beliefs. He is a believer in the supremacy of law. That doesn't actually mean the supremacy of law, it means the supremacy of lawyers, of people like him. He believes that basically human society should be constructed according to rules made by people like him, which are enforced by people like him, and prevent anybody else who is not like him from having a say in anything. And it's through the device of this strange thing called human rights law.
Starkey, a man rooted in serious thought and history, refused to let this pass unnoticed. He stripped away Starmer's carefully crafted public image, layer by layer, only to reveal deeper emptiness beneath. Behind the scripted lines and polished statements is someone who stands for little beyond avoiding offence. But avoiding offence is not leadership. Refuse to stand firm, and you end up bending to everything. One week Starmer speaks for workers, the next he reassures bankers. One moment he champions climate responsibility, the next he quietly sidesteps powerful interests. Starkey made it clear, this is not strength, It is collapse dressed up as caution.
What I'm really struck by, much though I detest this government, the situation that it's finding itself in is actually starting to force it to think. It's doing it very reluctantly. The whole bias of the Labour Party is it is the welfare party. It pretends to be the party of work,
yes,
but in fact is the party of state.
Meanwhile, Starkey came armed with facts and history, highlighting that Starmer's greatest achievement seems to be making people forget that Labour once stood for strong principles. He did not attack with anger, he dismantled Starmer calmly, guided by historical perspective. He reminded viewers that Britain has seen true leaders, people with courage, clear convictions, and the strength to defend them. By that measure, Starmer looks completely out of place. His habit of sitting on the fence leaves him paralysed on every major issue. Brexit, the economy, immigration, education, all follow the same predictable pattern. First he says something vague, then he waits for the reaction. Next he clarifies by saying even less. After that he blames poor communication. Finally, he smiles awkwardly and moves on, leaving nothing resolved.
It's exactly this. And instead, what Starmer has done is to dare to go back to fundamentals. But does he know what he's doing? Does he really, well he does now, know what an extraordinary can of worms he's opened? I mean, part of the problem, isn't it, is Starmer is a man with absolutely no sensitivity to language. Starmer did not write this speech. Of course he didn't. Starmer doesn't write any of his speeches. He thinks and talks like an automaton. Somebody has put these words in his mouth. Does he?
By now, many Labour supporters no longer get angry. They respond with weary disappointment. They hoped for leadership and instead got hesitation. Starmer's version of opposition politics feels weak and unconvincing. Even his political rivals seem taken aback that this is the figure they are supposed to fear. And when Starmer appears in public, the preparation is obvious. Every word feels rehearsed. Every pause meticulously planned. Yet despite all that effort, his speeches fall flat. There is no passion, no connection with the audience, and no sense of urgency. What comes through instead is fatigue and a deep lack of belief in what he is saying.
So, Starmer and I have previous. How's he gone so badly wrong? Well, several people, I mean, if you think of Rosie Duffield's magnificent letter, she points out that this is a man who is now Prime Minister of the country who had no political experience. He is also not simply a lawyer. Everybody said to me, how on earth can this man be a QC? How can he be so, well, A, dumb, and B, how can he be so bad at public speaking? You know, from nasal whine. Well, I suppose he can't help that he comes from Reigate, but that's oh, indeed, my father was a toolmaker too, but I did something about it, I suppose. But what has gone wrong with Starmer is that A, he's not very clever.
Starkey didn't need to raise his voice to make his point. He simply held up Starmer to the audience as he truly is. What people saw was a leader who doubts every firm conviction. Someone whose primary political skill is avoiding clear answers. His entire career seems built on being just interesting enough to stay visible, but never strong enough to challenge anyone. Britain needs leadership, not comfort. Yet Starmer continues to talk about rebuilding trust, as if voters have forgotten that he walked away from many of the promises that won him the Labour leadership. It feels like asking for applause after the trick has long ceased to work. The result isn't renewed faith, it's growing indifference.
Starmer's something completely different. He's our first totally non-political Prime Minister. He embodies something I think, completely new in British politics that we've never seen before, and we're already realising just how dreadful it is. What Starmer is the incarnation of all the fundamental changes that have taken place in our constitution, a kind of behind-the-scenes revolution since Blair. Starmer has a real set of values. He believes in the rules. Theresa May believed in the rules, but Starmer's are a much more structured, much more focused set of...
Whenever Starmer talks about change, it feels empty and vague. He uses the word frequently, but never clarifies what it actually means. Change from what toward what remains unanswered. His statements come across as mechanical and detached, written more to fill space than to inspire action. Starkey didn't need a long response. His quiet reaction spoke volumes. Starmer's message lacks energy and substance. It feels bland, overworked, and unfinished all at once. Yet he stands there expecting praise, as if he has offered something bold. The public reaction tells a different story. People aren't inspired. They are already looking for alternatives.